Good day all. It is, what is it, 9:29 on the evening of the 7th of December 2024. And this broadcast may be challenging for some, however, it won't stop me speaking it. This is my channel, the Self-Preservation Society, or Truth and Awareness on Rumble and YouTube. I'm Basil, broadcasting Truth and Therapy, BBTT, and here I am using the talking stick. And going to try and clarify some points of my awareness. And before I start, those of you that want proof of what I'm about to say, then you will find it if you look for it. No doubt about that. You'll find it if you want to go digging for it and look for it. But if you want to become aware, you won't need proof. You won't need proof. You will just resonate with the energy, frequency and vibration of the words, in this instance, that I'm going to speak to you. And they resonate with you. You might not fully comprehend them, understand them, or whatever, as it happened to me many times. But however, you will resonate with them. And if you do resonate with them, you won't need proof. You just need to become aware. And, you know, the title of this broadcast will be something along the lines of directed at those who call the Union flag the Union Jack. Can't see the truth that's in front of them. That's the point I'm making there. And of course I speak from my location on the earth, which is currently called England. But I never called it that. My ancestors never called it that. The Matrix calls it that. Bear this in mind as we go on. I've said to you before about how Billy Carson tells you the difference between the different skin colours, hair colours, eye colours, this and that, is just 2% difference in DNA. I've done an upload 3 or 4 years back. The white slave is the most productive slave and has been. And there is no slave like the white slave, whether it be in America or England especially, that dances to the tune of their masters and waves their flag with such patriotism and etc., and calls themselves citizens and whatever, just as their masters would have them do so. And I remind you of this quote from Thomas Sheridan: "Flags are the dusters given to us by our masters to polish their mansions." The first man was black. The genetics come from those that created the first man. Well, actually, the first human. The first human was black. The genetics that brought that about come from those that created the first human, mixing their own genetics with the genetics that were already here on Earth. And they created the first human, and the first human was black. And when you study and look to become aware of history, you'll know that that black man, the first black man, eventually walked from Africa and spread around the world. You will know, because it is written, that there come a time when God thought the humans were making too much noise. And so he split their tongues so they couldn't understand each other. The greatest reset in history, it's not Tartaria. It is when the original human, the black man, was genetically manipulated with to bring about these different races that we have upon the earth today. And it is quite clear to me that the races derived from the original human, the black man, have been developed in such a way that they have, at the behest of their masters, their owners, gone and raped and pillaged throughout the world and subjugated the black man. History tells us what European slave traders, etc., done in Africa. Yes, they had their own slave trade there. I know that. I'm aware of that. But nevertheless, those that were derived or came from the original human being, the black man, who were genetically modified to create all the different skin colours, etc., that we see across the world now, especially from the white European slave, gone at the behest of their masters, and over time subjugated the black human, controlled them, rewrit their history, everything, and created a new history. It is really interesting for me to reflect on this, and I need to go back and look at The Fraud of English History by Michael Abernathy that I listened to many years ago. However, my awareness, which I'm sharing, is my awareness. And like I said, if you want proof, you'll no doubt find proof. You can prove anything one way or another. That's duality. That's the false matrix that enslaves us. I merely share my awareness, my knowing with you. And if it offends you, then you must consider and seek to understand why it offends you. But I won't stop sharing it, speaking, because I want to free you all. I want to free you all. Then when we're all free, I can be free. That's the way it works, people. When you look at the history of the world, the oldest race upon the world that they tell us is those original Australians, those what we call Aboriginal people. And they must have come at some point in history from Africa. They are, I've heard stories that they are recognised as being 36,000 years old, or on that continent we call Australia for 36,000 years, was that landmass attached to another landmass at some point and broke away. We know tectonic plates move, or so they tell us, this, that, and the other. And again, when I make points like this, it is based upon what they tell us. It doesn't necessarily mean what they're telling us is the truth. So I'm speaking from two different points here. My awareness, what I feel, what I resonate with, and the history that they tell us, which, as Soren Kierkegaard said, history is a lie, telling of events that never happened, told to us by people that wasn't there. There's so much I've been talking about recently. I was up with Barbara Allman the other day having a chat with her, and because she's very much into the ancient Egyptians as we're taught, you know, the ones that they tell us built the pyramids 4,000 years ago or whatever. And we got into a discussion, and I'm talking about all the tunnels that are around the earth that have been found. You know, the tunnel from Scotland to Turkey, probably to the Cappadocia region. Tunnels I've recently discovered about in Iran that travel for thousands of miles. Tunnels all around America that we've inherited and repurposed, built upon. Because that's what we do. We repurpose, redesignate, create a new history around them, and that's all part of the reset. But the biggest reset was splitting the atom, as it were, the genome of the original human, the black man, and creating all the different races and having them compete against each other. I'm reminded as I speak of this about that video, that old boy, when he says that underneath, you know, I can't remember exactly, but underneath we're 80% water, underneath the skin, the avatar, and everything else we share. It's only the outward appearance that makes us different to each other, and it has been done in order that we would fight each other as human beings, because we're no longer man or woman, we're just human beings. You know, we have to return to our roots physically, spiritually, and then we will truly awaken to the conscious expression that we are, the soul, and the awareness that comes with each soul. And otherwise, if we don't do that, we just remain spiritual beings in a avatar body, time after time after time. When you look and study what is available to us about what these black-skinned people gave the world in recent history, inventions, this, that, and the other. A lot of that's been hidden from you. It's freely available now. People are finding it and sharing it, this, that, and the other. Freely available to all seekers of the truth. And you've got to be a seeker of the truth. You've got to want to be able to seek it, realise there's a truth that needs to be sought out. Otherwise, you're just dancing to the tune of your masters, not paying attention, but paying to live on this earth. It is the deeper I get into it, the more I become aware, the more I can see and respect, to a degree, the system that enslaves us and how far-reaching it is, not just today, but throughout history, and will continue unabated before us into the future, unless we drop our egos, our fear, our arrogance, and learn who and what we truly are, in order that we could come together and fight the good fight against those that continually have us fighting each other, controlling us, controlling the narrative, controlling the resources, controlling the food, controlling the laws, controlling everything. You have no control over the self. What hope have we got of controlling that outside of ourselves? We might do it fleetingly now and again, but that control is always taken from us, because ultimately we don't know, recognise, accept that which we truly are. We're in fear of it, and it is brilliant. Batman, Turner, Overdrive got it right. I think it was them. Blinded by the light. We're blinded by our own light. We're in fear of our own light, and we shy away from it into the shadows of the self, controlled by the demons of not only this incarnation but previous incarnations, of which we have little or no understanding of, because we don't illuminate them with our light. That's basically what it boils down to, people. You know, when you stop fighting another because of their skin colour, and realise that underneath, together, we are all the same. Just the same as those that control us are all the same. They've got the same mindset. I've said that a couple of times in recent broadcasts this year. They have the same mindset. They are focused on their agenda and what they want to achieve. What are we focused on? The football, the soaps, the television, the movies, the pop stars, the movie stars, you name it. We're focused on anything and anything. That's the bread and circuses outside of the self that they give us to keep us in that low vibrational state, impotent. And that's what we are. We're impotent, because we are governed by our fear, by the matrix, the programs of the matrix, this, that, you know. They're not. They're all powerful, and they are only all powerful because we give them that power that they use to dominate and control us and keep us in fear. They use that power to keep us fighting another human being, to keep us in fear of another human being, keep us in fear that we won't have enough because of these other human beings. It's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant system. And when you can observe it as an outsider, as I do, through my awareness, then you have to acknowledge it and its power and dominion over this third dimensional reality and beyond this third dimensional reality. You only see the physical manifestation of it, if you see that at all. I see it beyond that, to the spirit, especially the spirit. It is not the be-all and end-all, people. I can assure you of that 100%. Those outside of us in the spiritual realms are no better off than those of us that are spiritually awake in this realm. Of that, there is no denying. If they were better than us, had more knowledge and awareness than us, they would be sharing it to empower, enlighten and enable us to free ourselves from this prison many don't see we're in. But no, I've said for an awful long time, and many others have said it, nobody from outside of you is ever going to come and save you. You come here in order that first you can save the self. And then you can change that outside of self, which controls the self, and empower, enlighten and enable others to do the same, which is what I try to do here. What I try to do here so much. You will keep coming back until you get it right here. Of that there is no doubt in my mind, my awareness. If you're not suitably awake and aware, you'll never be able to escape the reincarnation cycle, and you'll just keep coming back as a battery, giving life to those that enslave you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and keep you in fear of your true self. It's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. And it works so well. And it has worked so well for so long. But we can change it. We are the ones. We are the only ones that can change it. We are here to change it. We've got to change us before we can change it. And that's why every time I talk, I say to you, if you don't go within, you'll go without. You're responsible for your own freedom, for your own imprisonment. It's you. It's not outside of you. It's you. When you wake up to that, we can change it. When you turn off the television and put on the glasses, figuratively speaking, not just to look and see, but to look to observe, which you can do, you should do, but you don't do, because there's too many distractions, here, there and everywhere. There's always something to distract you, and you give your attention to, and you pay the price for it. You pay the price for giving your attention to anything other than that which you truly are. It's a brilliant system. Simplistic, really. Simplistic. When I listen to myself talking here, I think how simplistic it is. And it is quite simplistic. But it is so deep and far-reaching, not just today, but throughout history, as far back as we can know it. Because human beings have always been fighting each other. They were designed to do that and to serve their masters. That's why mankind, if you see it here on this earth, you will observe from mankind that they do things differently. They will defend themselves without a shadow of a doubt. Those on those islands in Borneo or deep in the Amazonian rainforest, they will defend themselves. But they do things differently because they're natural still. We're not natural. There's nothing natural about us. Nothing natural about us at all. We have been created to serve an agenda, to serve a master in this form as human, coloured man beings. When we wake up to that, we change everything. The first man was black. And from that black man came human beings. With the result. We've got to get back to our roots physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and on a soul level. And that will only come when we unlearn all that we have learned in order that we can become aware by learning what is truth, what is real. Let's be natural beings. Let us embrace all that is natural. And let us see through the fog of this shit show. Through the fog of our spiritual aspect of self. And go deeper and deeper to the true self. And then when we see that, feel it, resonate with it and bring it out, we will then attract those of like awareness and mind. And we can stop being a food source for those that enslave us. And that's what it is. In simple terms, it just boils down to that. They poison your mind with the television. They poison the air that you breathe. They poison the water you drink. And they poison the food that you eat. Don't tell me you're natural. Man up. If this message resonates, then share the message. Don't share me. Share the message. Go within. Or go without. Palamia, thank you. In Lakesh, in you I see an enemy. Mitachui Oyasin, we are all related. We are all relatives. And when you get as deep as I go, you realise we're all connected. Share the message, don't share me.